The point of this video is to show you how to do really simple solutions, save yourself some work, and use your calculator once per question. In this first one, to get x by itself, we're going to multiply both sides by 12, giving 12 sine of 60 degrees. And then you take your calculator, make sure your calculator's in degree mode, and just type this in as you see it, and you should get 10.39. This is probably the easiest trig expression you'll have to evaluate. This next one, where the variable is in the bottom. Technically, what we're doing is we're multiplying both sides by h. We want to get h by itself. And then divide both sides by cos 38, and you wind up with h equals 15 over cosine of 38 degrees. And you should be able to use your A over B button, look for this one right there, and type it in just like you see it. And you should get 19.04. I'm having lots of decimals here. Not really a big deal. I will tell you how to round in the assignments. This one here. This time we're finding the angle. So there's no reason to do 5 divided by 8 yet. We're going to do A is the inverse tan, and you're going to press second function tan in your calculator. And you don't actually need to put it in brackets. You can if you like, but again, use your fraction button and do this. And you should get, and I'll go to the nearest degree here, 32 degrees. Again, calculator once. Law of sines. To get t by itself, we're going to multiply both sides by the sine of 40, which will give t equals 17 sine of 40 over the sine of 50. And you should be able to type this exact thing into your calculator. And the thing is, there's no reason to do sine of 40, write down the decimal, sine of 50, write that down the decimal, and then do 17 times that decimal over the decimal. Just do it like you see it. Our calculators are awesome that way. It should look pretty much just like this on your calculator. And I believe we'll get this to be 14.26 or thereabouts. In this one here, first of all, we need to get sine theta by itself. So we'll multiply both sides by 5. And then, because we're finding the angle, we're going to do inverse sine of both sides. And you should be able to basically type this into your calculator, just like that. No calculations until we actually type this in, just like this, and press enter. And I believe this gives us roughly 30 degrees. Law of cosines. The most common one is when you have the angle between those two sides. And a lot of students will evaluate these numbers, but you know what? You don't need to. You can if you like. However, we can just do c equals the square root and put all this stuff right in there, and we will get 13.03 or thereabouts. So you can do this all in one step. There's no reason to do 10 squared, write it down, 12 squared, write it down, and so on. In fact, when students do that, they often do it wrong. So just type it all out. You should be able to see all of this stuff inside the square root sign, and you're good. Now this one takes a little bit of work. you will be given the law of cosines formula, just like you see it here or up here. And you have to know how to get that by itself. I've seen some teachers who teach two different formulas. Well, guess what? There's one formula, and you are supposed to know how to rearrange it. So what we're going to do is we are going to subtract 40 squared and 48 squared from both sides. That gets rid of those two, so to speak. And then we're going to divide by that. And that's how we get this by itself. And the last step, because we're finding the angle, is to do inverse cos. And I'm not even going to write it all down again. I'm just going to put an arrow like that. And you can do the same thing. Instead of rewriting that stuff, just put an arrow like that. And we can get the answer. Did I do this? I don't think I did. So second function cos bracket 50 squared minus 40 squared minus 48 squared over -2 times 40 times 48. And I get 68.55. Let's call that 68.6. I should have rounded that to the nearest degree. Let's do that to the nearest degree. Let's call this 69 degrees, and we're done. So simple calculations. We do one calculation per question, and it looks nice. It's less work. You are less likely to make mistakes, and that's what I'm aiming for. Less work, clear, no mistakes.